the time has come, we've had some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode number 79. My name is Tony B. Alongside me, as usual, is David B. and Timmy D. Today we have a special guest, the Tourette's Trucker from YouTube. You can catch him on YouTube, and he'll tell us how you can contact him. Topic one, Timmy D. with Rail Strike Adverted. Timmy D has that. David B. with Trucker Appreciation Week. Tony B. I'll cover FedEx's bold prediction on the economy. The views of Ship's Gonna Happen are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any entity that uses a transportation provider. Timmy D, why do we do it?
Transportainment.
Boom.
You can catch us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and our home website, ShipsGonnaHappen.com, which we got a billboard up that Dave is going to talk about. All you have to do is Google, and you will find us. Good morning, David B.
Good Saturday morning to the both of you guys. It is another beautiful Saturday morning in Indianapolis. It's about 70 degrees, and it's nice, cool. Fall is almost upon us. Later this week, I think on Thursday, fall will finally hit. And just a beautiful day. Coming through downtown Indy, working on that construction on 70, making progress every day. Just wish they'd get it done a little bit quicker. Today's show, along with all other shows, is brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. Great place to go to unwind and catch some music, chat it up with the locals, get a great meal, and just a great way to kind of unwind after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. Timmy D, good to see you. How are you this morning, my friend?
Oh, here I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
It was a long drinking night last night is all I can tell you. And the hell with that Sandy project. They're a bunch of... Did you hear what they blamed it on?
No.
So they're supposed to be done by the end of the year. That's the contract.
Right.
Okay, so we've been talking about this on the show almost the entire time we've been here. Well, now they said, we're going to have this one section open by the end of the year. We're hoping to finish it by the end of August. Yeah, by the end of August of next year, 2023, they're going to finish this. But they're blaming it on number one issue, supply chain issues.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard that?
I've not heard
They're saying
that.
they can't get the supplies and it's a supply chain issue.
I did hear on the news the other day that they wanted to do a study for the 65 portion of it to maybe lower it less than street level coming through Indy. And you're like, you don't have that figured out yet?
You should have figured that out.
Thank you.
In 2016 when you knew the project was coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So they're making all
Tony.
kinds of excuses. So last time they did that split, you guys remember that contract stated that if you finish, for every day you finished early, was going to be like a so much $1 million kickback from the project. So let's say they budgeted $100 million. Every day was like $1 million kickback to the company that they hired to do it all.
Okay.
And then what they do? That was what, 2015?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
16?
Right.
Yep.
And then they right back at it 5 years ago or 5 years later.
I know.
Here we go again.
Yep.
And it's not even done the right way. There's potholes. It's Indianapolis. Never mind. You know what? I'm gonna get off my high horse.
We
right
love
now.
it here.
We got Tony. We got another Tony on the line.
Yeah.
Let's let him chime in. But I just it's ridiculous on these contracts how they sign them.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. David B.,
So,
Yeah.
you want to kick us off?
Let's do it.
Trucker Tourette?
The Tourette's.
Tourette's Trucker, are you on?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Hey,
we go.
good morning, Tony. How are you, sir?
Good morning, sir. Pretty good. Yourself?
Good. Oh, doing well. Thanks for coming on with us this morning. And we definitely like watching your videos and stuff. You've got a unique way to kind of promote what you've got going on and everything. Tell us a little bit about how you got into trucking, and then also tell us a little bit about how you got your YouTube channel started and stuff, if you don't mind.
I was actually working at a shipyard in Jacksonville, Florida. Working on the dry dock company, working on Navy ships. But then that was in 2004, right when Iraq War and everything else kicked in and all that stuff. So everything happened We had the shipyard. Of course, all the Navy ships that we mainly dealt with, they all left Mayport, Jacksonville to go overseas. Nobody really likes working on commercial freighters because they're dirty, they're nasty. So me and my twin brother were like, hey, there's good money in trucking. We've always wanted to drive trucks. Why don't we go to truck driving school and be truck drivers? So that's what we did in 2004.
That's awesome. So you've been at it a little while, and watching your videos, are you a hazmat tanker driver? Is that what you are?
Yes, haul hazmat tankers.
Wow.
I've actually been hauling hazmat tankers since 2006.
Wow.
Started driving in 04. Of course, you have to get that 1 year experience over the road.
Right.
Then did that, came home, ran containers for about a year to get to, because most hazmat companies want you to have at least 2 years experience before they'll allow you to pull hazmat tankers. That's one thing that, I don't know, I think it might be more of an insurance deal why they want you to have at least 2 years, because it is hazmat. The insurance costs are astronomical for the insurance for hazmat. So they want to make sure they're not putting just any rookie in behind the wheel of a hazmat.
Right.
which I get it.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's been no downtime for you then, is there? I mean, you've been constantly rolling for since you got started, right?
Yes, since I came back to tanking, we've actually been pretty good. Now, where I was at before, from 06 until I bought my green Freightliner, y'all see my videos and my logo.
Yeah.
I was with another company that was an owner-operator terminal. The terminal was 100% owner-operators. There were no company drivers at that terminal. But they mainly dealt with a few paper mills. They did some over-the-road work. But you have some drivers that, no matter where you're at, every company's going to have their drivers that they will sit home and starve before they drive out of state. They're like, oh, no, that's too far for me to drive.
Oh, wow.
But I was one of the few that would actually like, no, I'll do all the local paper mill stuff. But then when you don't have something, send me out. I'll go all over the United States as long as it's paying.
Yeah, exactly. So you have a lot of your videos, we've noticed, are pretty informative videos, where if you stop at the TA and you get, here's a good meal deal at the TA, or here's a good, place to park. I mean, do you get a lot of comments about people appreciating how informative your videos are and stuff?
Surprisingly, I have.
Yeah.
Which I do know. I realize with my Tourette, some of my videos are hard to watch, because I've actually had people just blatantly just ask, what's up with the sucking sound? Well, that's part of my Tourette's, and that's kind of why the name of the channel is The Tourette's Trucker, because I do have Tourette's, and that's something I can't control, is some of the tics with sucking sounds, eyeball rolls and tics, and facial tics and things like that. But I was surprised at some of the comments that I actually do get, because I'll be honest, a lot of people, it is hard to watch some of the videos, so some people don't get as far in the videos as I would like them to, because I try to put in all my videos a lot of information. Some, of course, at the beginning I always have openers, but then sometimes I have more stuff at the ends of the videos. But I know I'm very self-aware and honest about my channel, about everything I do. I don't try to hide anything. I let people know, hey, look, this is what I have. I agree. When I go back and watch some of the videos, I know it is hard for some people to watch, because the sucking sounds and my ADHD, my brain rolls and rambles. So I'm really appreciative of the comments that I do get when people say, man, I appreciate the information that you've actually put. It's like, that actually has helped. And I'm very thankful for those comments that I do get. And I'm surprised at how many I actually do receive.
Yeah, you've got quite a few followers, and your videos are very informative, and they've got to be super helpful to the other drivers. Do you get a lot of followers? Like, where else can they follow you from, and not just YouTube? Where else can they get you on Instagram? Or
Yeah, I actually have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I don't really mess with Snapchat, but I actually do have the Instagram and the TikTok that I'll try to throw some of the stuff out there on.
Do you
Twitter,
have people? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, just the Twitter, but I've been trying to focus more on the YouTube because with trucking, we do a lot of work. I mean, there's so many days that you're doing your 14 hours a day, and then sometimes you just don't feel like 5-6 hours editing a video.
Right.
And then if you're trying to do TikTok and Instagram and everything else, those channels don't have near as much content as what I do with the YouTube channel. I try to put more long-term stuff and better informative stuff. I try to do little shorts and things like that on the Instagram and the TikTok and stuff like that.
Do you have any people with Tourette's that do follow you? I mean, you might, you're probably can be an inspiration to some people that have that.
I gotta say, he's got to be a unique person out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do on Instagram. I have a lot more Tourette's people on my Instagram. Because I'm actually a part of several Tourette's groups on my Instagram. They're mainly just people with Tourette's. So awesome. I would say more of the Tourette's are actually on the Instagram. But I've noticed when I go back and look at my statistics, there are a good amount of people that actually go back and watch my old ones. Because I started the channel in 2020. It was actually the wife, because when I went down to Miami to run stuff to the cruise ships, down there we have a lot more free time at the end of the day. So the wife's like, well, why don't you start a YouTube channel and start talking about your Tourette's? Because I wasn't officially diagnosed with Tourette's until, I think 2014.
Wow.
So I was 45 before I was officially diagnosed with ADHD and Tourette's.
Oh, wow.
Now you have a twin. Would that be similar with the twin, Tony, or?
He doesn't have it as much now. He does have a couple little things, but I think I've got the majority of the junk DNA, I guess.
Hey, join the club.
Yes.
We all three here have.
We're a room full of junk in this right now.
Wait, where are we going with this conversation?
Yeah, anyway.
No, that's good stuff, though.
But I always cut jokes and laugh about that because he always did better in school. He was always smarter, got the better grades. But I think I've got more of the ADHD. Now, he's more OCD than me. Okay. I mean, he's definitely on the more of the OCD side. But when it comes to the Tourette's, tics, and the ADHD and the mind just bouncing around like the squirrel, like driving around, hey, look, squirrel, donkey.
Yeah.
My attention span is short.
So what's it like? What's it like, Tony, getting this? Is there any CDL? Like, I
was gonna say driving. Like, how does that work?
How does, like, when you get your CDL, is there any questions? Do you have to disclose anything like that? And
luckily and blissfully, there's nothing on there that mentions that. Now, heart problems. Now that will get you only a 1-year medical certificate. Like every 2 years, you have to go and get your medical card renewed and have a DOT physical every 2 years. But if you have heart problems, then that comes once a year instead of 2 years. But there's nothing actually on there because I've actually got a friend named David who used to watch Just Trucking, and then he found my channel. Well, he actually emailed me and said, well, you've been an inspiration. I want to get a CDL, this and that. And then he's like, well, here's my phone number. Not that you'll ever use it. Wife's like, call him. I mean, he sent me this long email to the Tourette Trucker email address. I'm like, wow. I mean, sounds like a really good kid. I mean, he's got all kinds of medical things with him, a lot like me, but he doesn't have Tourette's, but he has some other things. And so he was just curious, well, should I even waste the time applying and trying to get a CDL or anything like that on the test? And I'm like, no, there's nothing about that condition on there. It's like, by all means, try it. And we've actually become real good friends, and we text and we call all the time now.
That's awesome. That's a good story to hear right there.
Does it affect you at all when you drive, like with the ADHD and the Tourette's and stuff? Does that mess with your attention span when you're driving a big rig? Like, that kind of scares me. I'm just saying, as a
in a
car
way,
next
it's
to you.
actually a good thing in a way, because since your attention span is kind of every little thing will catch your eye, in a way that keeps your eyes moving and keeps you looking at everything else around your surroundings, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's an odd way to look at it,
Oh, that's good.
but any little thing grabs your attention. So you see something on the side of the road, that's going to grab your attention. Where some people have tunnel vision when they're driving. That's all they see is directly in front of them. They don't even see the light down the road. They just see directly in front of their trucks. Whereas me, I've always learned I'm scanning a mile down the road. I'm looking past everybody looking for brake lights. I'm looking at everything on the side of the road and seeing what's going on. And there's so many drivers that have that tunnel vision.
I had the issue in high
don't look.
school. When I walked down the hallways, the girls were the same way. They had tunnel vision. They saw me, and they just, what's going on over there?
Yeah. So Tony, tell us a little bit about
About like me in school.
Where are you from, Tony? Tell us about where you grew up and where you're from and all that.
I'm actually from South Georgia. Lived there all my life until 2018, and then we built a house up there in Atlanta. So now we live up in the Atlanta area, and our wife hates it. She hates the traffic and everything else. She's like, we got to get back somewhere besides. She's like, this place is a mess.
How modern of a city is Atlanta, where they have one highway that runs through town, and that's the only highway everybody can take, or the interstate that anybody can take?
Hey, Atlanta's got they got a 465.
Yeah. Hey, trucker Tony. No offense, but we go to Florida quite a bit, and I'm always wondering if they could move Georgia over to maybe the coast or to the west. Yeah, Atlanta. That traffic, man, is it costs me 2 hours every time. And you can't go around it.
I hate to be negative and throw shade, but it's like this JB Hunt day cabs pulling containers, get in that middle lane, and they will not move for anything because there's a local rail yard up there. They go in and pick up the containers, and they will not move for trucks. I mean, the middle lane or the second lane is the truck's fast lane, and they won't move. I mean, everybody in Atlanta area that runs through there will tell you, like, is it company policy now to get in that lane for these company guys and not move their trucks?
No, they have enough time just hitting the gas. Typically, those kind of drivers versus driving.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a difference between
they won't even do
behind
speed limit.
Well, their trucks may not go that speed limit. That's the problem.
I think they're governed, aren't they? At like 65,
62, probably.
62.
Yeah. A lot of them are 62 and 65. And see, that's what us owner operators and me as the owner operator, that's what we all fuss at. It's like, come on, if you're going to be in that lane, at least do the speed limit because you're in the truck's fast lane. Yeah. At least get out of that lane if you're governed.
Okay.
Don't just sit right there beside another truck.
But they're giving it hell. That's not their
20
fault.
miles.
Yeah. What'd you say, Tim?
I said they're giving it hell. It's not their fault. Their truck won't go any faster. They want to, but they can't.
Right. So is your brother still doing it, Tony?
Yes, he actually pulls a hazmat tanker, same company I'm with. He actually has 3 trucks contracted over there. I've got 2.
Wow. So how many kids you got?
That's in the blood, then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have 3.
Wow.
I've got 3. Oh gosh, here we go. Let's see. Okay, I've got a 32-year-old daughter.
What?
Man, how old are you? You look like you're 40 years old.
There's no way you have a 32.
Get out of here.
Come on.
I'm actually 53.
Okay.
All
right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the hair. Yeah. It's that hair that makes me look younger.
There you go. That's it.
The rock and roll.
David B don't have much of that left.
Yeah, I'm the same age you are, and I have no hair, Tony. Jeez.
Well, yeah, I got a 32-year-old daughter, a 29-year-old daughter, and a 22-year-old son.
Wow, congrats,
and now my wife's got 2 daughters and a son, and it's funny that they're about the same age. Her kids are about the same age as mine, and hers are 2 older daughters. The youngest is a son, and mine is the exact same thing. 2 oldest daughters, and the youngest is a son, right there at the same age.
You almost got a Brady Bunch.
I was gonna say, how's that Thanksgiving? That's got to be a huge Thanksgiving, right?
Wow.
We're not doing 1 turkey. We're doing big turkey. We're doing 6 turkeys.
Right,
Like, how's that work? That's crazy.
Well, I guess it's a good thing and it's a bad thing since we live.
This guy's
so
positive,
far
isn't
up
he?
and
He's
down
always
away from
picking
everybody
it.
else. We never really celebrate holidays with family because we're separated.
It costs too much.
Too much turkey.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us about what you're doing.
I actually get a lot of grief because I'm one of those drivers that the only holidays I really honestly take off is Christmas.
Okay.
I go home for Christmas, but as far as any other holiday, wife tells me and everybody tells me you need to start taking more time off. Because generally Christmas is the only holiday I will not work. Every other holiday, I'm gone. I miss anniversaries, birthdays, Thanksgiving, because I'm like, Thanksgiving's just food. We can eat food any other time. Every time I come home, we eat food, so it's no biggie. So,
So
to me,
I used
that's
to
no
work
biggie.
with a guy that he would. So Christmas was the only holiday he would not take off. And what he used to say was, you know, all his family was from Alabama. He lived up in Indianapolis, and he goes, "What I do is I travel down there like the first week of January. By then, everything's on clearance that you're gonna buy them anyways."
true,
So he
yeah.
goes, "I would stop on the way down and buy all the gifts."
There we go.
And they would be like, they'd only be like they'd be 40% off. So 60%, I buy all the gifts. So I always say, I have to work. Well, he'd volunteer to work, right? He could have the days off, but he's like, I want to work because I want to go see my family. It was a huge family. And he goes, I go down on my way, I stop, I pick up all the gifts, and it's done. And it's
Cheaper.
like, yeah, he's like, it
Smart
makes
man.
100%. He goes, I blame it on work because they don't know. They're not in Indianapolis.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
understand.
Smart
And he
man.
would drive down and take the first
Smart
week of
man.
January off to go see his family and go around like Santa Claus with all the gifts that
Yeah.
were 40% off.
Yeah,
love it.
that's smart.
It's great.
So Tony, tell us about
That
what you-
actually kind of sounds like my motto. My motto, my channel, I tell everybody, work smarter, not harder. That's
right.
exactly what it
That's
sounds
right.
like.
Yes, sir. Well said. Tony, tell us about where you're at today and what you got going on.
Actually, up in Tiffin, Ohio, for my wife's daughter's wedding.
Oh,
So
nice.
me and my son, my wife spent the night with her last night. I got our son here, so I'm sitting here
Congratulations.
ironing his dress pants right now.
Nice. Well, congratulations. I hope everything goes well today.
Congratulations on your daughter getting married.
Yeah. So, are you involved in the?
It's been a long time coming. She's been waiting and holding out and holding out. It's like, okay, she's almost 30. She's like, okay, I need to do this.
Yeah. So, are you in the wedding at all today?
Luckily, no.
Okay.
Luckily.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So
Luckily,
you
no.
get to be an observer today.
But now I was told I'm going to have to do the dad-daughter dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
You got to do that.
It's always awkward though. I don't like them.
So,
I get it though.
so being a truck
Especially for someone
driver.
like me that does a dance.
That's
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
the daddy
That's-
daughter dance. So being a truck driver, man, what do you what's your biggest fears moving forward when you look at this industry? What's your biggest concerns?
Definitely worried about, is it going to slow up enough to where it's going to kill me? Fuel has got to get under control. I mean, this administration or something, they've got to open up the daggone pipelines. They've got to allow regulation for new refineries to be built, because even if we drill so much, the refining capacity is limited because it's been so long since they built any new refineries.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming from.
I mean, if
that's
they-
what I
if they
love.
get
It's
some more
coming from
refinery,
an
we could probably
owner
get cheaper
operator
fuel.
versus
Right.
someone that. We talk about
Yeah.
the contracts that the bigger companies have out there. He's an owner operator, so he's paying that sticker price you see is exactly what Tourette's trucker Tony is paying on the streets, and that's scary. And I get exactly what he's saying right
Yeah.
now. Sorry to chime in, Tony, on top of your story. I
It's a good point, man.
can't imagine, man. You're swiping that card for. I mean, it used to be $1,200 and now it's $2,500, right? So that's crazy.
Yeah, because I actually just put I think I did a short. No, or to be honest, I don't remember if I actually put out there or not. I got fuel the other day at the TA in Knoxville, and it was like $1,148 for that one fill up.
Yeah. I
And then
saw
I turned
you
around and
post
ended up
that.
getting it again. So I think for the last week that I ran before I took off for this, my fuel bill was $3,600 and something for the week.
Holy smokes!
Jeez.
To run for 5 days, $3,600 in fuel.
Wow.
You got to get one of them
Granted,
hybrids. You need to go to the car show and get you one of them hybrids.
Get one of them electric trucks.
Yeah.
as they-
Plug it in at the Holiday
they're trying
Express.
to say.
They got plugs.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause when I saw an article the other day about electric trucks, how California is now wanting all trucks to go
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
I
how's
don't
that-
see how that's going to work.
I know.
I mean, if you
I
have
would
to
open
stop,
up.
and you
I'd
can't
buy
even
some
go a
land on
long
the other
distance
side of
charge on a
California.
car.
That's what I would do. You open up a dealership and you'd be in like Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's scary with the economy the way it is. I know it's going to have to slow down because they said we still aren't even at the bad part yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I said, this is just the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the holiday season.
And
is
so
starting
what's
to
that
pick
going to
up.
mean for us? And now with us, we mainly haul, I guess, for one of our main contracts we deal with, it's actually paper mills that we pull some stuff for. That's used in a lot of tissue plants and papers and things like that. Well, everybody needs toilet paper, so,
Yeah.
so
Hell yeah.
no matter whether there's a recession or not, people
We're
are going to
done
want
with that
toilet
shortage.
paper. So I
We,
guess
we
that's a
need
good
all the
thing.
Sherman you can get. I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like when COVID first hit, everybody was hoarding toilet paper.
Right.
So Tony, I'm gonna play.
Stupid.
I'm gonna play this video, you viewers. Hopefully you can hear it, and then I want you to tell us about it.
Something that is a common occurrence right here. Ground machine is down, currently broken. Y'all go to main school. Well, you know.
So what's going on, man? You can't get a drink at the truck stop?
Me and my brother have both talked about this so much here lately and spoke with a couple other drivers. The TAs and Petros are where we get the best fuel. Most owner operators actually fuel at the TAs and Petros because they have less biodiesel in their fuel. You get better fuel miles out of the TAs and Petros. Lowe's is the worst junk fuel. I hate to throw it on them, but when it comes to owner operators, they'll tell you anyone who's got, like I've got the older motors, because my truck's a glider truck. It's got 96 Detroit D60 motor in it. So we like the old fuel without all the biodiesel in it. Your truck runs better. So we always try to use there, but when you go to try to get a refill, which is what I tell everybody, use your reward cards. Use those reward cards with the TAs and Petro. If you get so many gallons with them, because they got different gear levels, if you get 1,500 gallons in a month, the next month, then you're like gear 4, where every time you get 60 gallons, you get a TA credit. Kind of like a shower credit, but once you get the 1,500 gallons the next month, you can either use that credit for either a shower, for the free reserve parking, so you've got a guaranteed parking spot, or you can use it for $16 food coupon.
Yeah. I accidentally hit a button. I'll
And
put
they're-
that out the door.
And the TAs are the only ones that are doing that. But the problem with the TAs and Petros, whereas every other truck stop chain, you just swipe your card at the register for points and things like that. TA, you have to print coupons.
Oh.
Either the coupon machines are down, or the drink you go in, drink machines say out of order.
I'm thinking about the McFlurry or whatever
Yeah.
at McDonald's.
It's always
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
great, but the machine is always broken.
And you can't get a hamburger.
And that's actually what I told the lady the other day, and also I'm like, y'all are getting the same reputation as McDonald's and their ice cream machines.
Yep, there you
said
go.
that.
Like, y'all are
There
getting
you
that
go.
same reputation. Because actually, out of the 5 days that I stopped that last week, 3 of the truck stops,
Yeah.
I either couldn't get refills because the drink machines are down, or the their kiosk machine where you actually print the coupons was down. Now, here's a prime example here. Me and my wife, on our way up here to Ohio, since the coupons expire within 10 days, the credits, I'm like, well, since we're going up, I've got 2 credits going to expire. We'll just stop at this TA here, and we'll go ahead and print 2 coupons, and me, her, and our son, here, that's $32 worth of Popeyes that we can get for free.
Hell yeah, I'm in for
Popeye.
that.
I'll be-
He said Popeye.
Oh man,
I'll be darned if we went in there, their kiosk was down. I couldn't print the coupons.
Oh, geez,
Of
that
course.
Figures.
do you ever give it the Will Smith slap and just like hit it and just knock it off the whatever it's on? That's what I would do.
There
The
you
Will
go.
Smith slap. Your slap might be a little more stronger.
I actually
than
showed
Will's.
her. But I took my wife, I said, look, I pointed to her, I said, see, she saw the out of order sign. She's like, so this is what you're talking about? I said, yes, this is what I'm always complaining about right here.
Wow.
Your biggest frustration is stopping. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you stop, see, like, TAs and Petros, they have a lot of their fuel aisles they have just a little satellite building in between the fuel aisles, so you don't actually have to go into the main building. So you can pull up, get your fuel. Hopefully you're a courteous enough driver to pull forward. Then you go in that little satellite where you can print your receipt, you can use the bathroom, and get your drink refill. Well, then when you get there and their drink machine's down, where you can't turn a coupon, the lady's like, well, you can go in the main building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but who wants to spend 15 minutes driving around trying to find a place to park just to go into the main
You
building
didn't make
to
this
get your
building
refill?
to make me go inside, you son of a gun. Get the son of a gun working. We wouldn't have this issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. When you go to the same place and a month later, it's still down. A month later, like, come on now. It's like, y'all can't find people to fix your machines?
Yeah.
Is the backlog that bad?
Wow.
No, it costs too much money, so they said the hell with it.
Yeah, and we're sitting there thinking, like, as much as y'all charge us for everything, you can fix that machine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, hey, Tony, we have a part of our show is we have a Hall of Fame, HAUL of Fame, and we would like to induct the Tourette's trucker Tony into our Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame today. So, welcome to our Hall of Fame, Tony.
Thank you.
I'll get you a
Ship's gonna
shirt.
happen.
Yeah, I'll get you I'll email you after the show, and I'll get your shirt size, and I'll email you, or excuse me, I'll mail you a shirt sometime this week or whatever.
Cool.
So why do you have
Definitely
Foghorn
work.
Leghorn on your YouTube channel?
I don't know why.
It's just something
They
funny.
say that was one of the cartoons, because I like Looney Tunes. I
Yeah.
grew up in the Looney Tunes era
Oh, yeah.
before they were considered violent. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
we didn't look at that stuff during our days. Now everybody's like, oh, that's just violent. They need to be saying, wait a minute, have y'all not seen the video games?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up and never once thought of violence when we watched cartoons.
No.
It was a good one, yeah.
But for some reason, every time I get stressed or a doodah comes out,
Oh, yeah.
I was told that's like a coping mechanism when you start stressing about something or something just kicks in you, then there's always a coping mechanism for people. And for some reason, doodah seems to come out with me, because I don't know why that's been sticking in my brain with the Foghorn Leghorn cartoon, but I'll just be sitting on the couch and my wife's like, well, there you go. I'm like, what? She's like, you're just sitting over there, doodah, doodah. So
Okay.
I've incorporated that. I actually had a person send me a shirt with Foghorn Leghorn on it.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
I loved that cartoon when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't.
That was
Yeah,
good
he was
stuff.
hilarious.
Yeah. Him and Jiminy Cricket. I always liked Jiminy Cricket.
It had him and the chicken hawk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I forgot
good
about
stuff.
that. Yeah, that was good stuff.
There he is right there. I pulled him up a little bit. But.
All right, so we probably get started on our topics now. Is that all right? Should we?
Yeah. Do you want to stick around for that, Tony?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we'll get into our topics here. All right. We're going to start off with, man, you know who's got this one, right?
It took 79 episodes for this to happen.
79th episode. And
There's so many buttons over there. He's not sure what to hit. That's the
right.
well,
problem.
I had to track on there. Yeah.
You should mark those with
All
stickers or
right.
something.
Timmy D hitting us with topic number 1, baby. Tell us about the railroad strike Adverted. Timmy D's got the topic on that. Timmy D.
I do?
Yep.
Oh, this is me?
Yeah,
this is
that's
you.
why I said it took 79 episodes, and it finally happened.
I know. Hey, so everyone, I don't know if everyone's heard, but
You chipper him, Tony, when you want to.
I would assume that everyone's heard about the railroad strike. So, give you a little backdrop of this. The contract actually expired a few months ago, and then the Biden administration stepped in, basically put an arbitrator in there type deal, trying to negotiate between the two of them. And so yesterday they were planning to go strike by Monday. So they told them, they basically gave them by Friday yesterday we're done. in a conversation. We're done with the talks, this or that. So it all boils down to there's basically 12 unions involved. And of those 12 unions, they handle 60% of what is moved in this country.
Wow.
So they handle, the 12 unions handle 60%. None of these 12 unions, it wasn't, believe it or not, what boiled down to, it wasn't about money. They agreed to 24% increase over the next 4 or 5 years, is what they had already agreed, but it wasn't about money. So out of the 12 unions, so the head honchos of all the other unions, of those 12 unions, there was 2 unions that actually held them back. And those 2 unions, the biggest complaint was working conditions. And the other thing is, I guess I read a stat, I think there was like 1.5 million people 20 years ago in the railroad, and now it's only 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
What?
All right. So 90% of the workforce has been reduced because of automation and different machines and this and that. They can do all this that you don't need the laborers.
All right.
So they were complaining about more jobs at the end of the day, believe it or not, more jobs that the companies that the unions work for were to produce more jobs, guarantee that. And it was labor issue. So another big issue that kind of came up with the work environment, this or that, was paid time off to go see the doctor.
Yeah.
Which was a big, I mean, COVID,
That's huge.
COVID kind of just hammered that nail all the way in that. So they want to be paid to go see their doctor for their medical reasons.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a twofold, right? So, one is you're the one taking off time. I'm giving you these great benefits. Why in the hell am I paying you to go see your doctor for that? The other item that you look at it, if you sit back and think about it, is I would rather you go on your dime on the insurance to go see that versus a worker comp claim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So there's different things. So it got settled late last night, I believe, or yesterday afternoon. And it's a 24% increase. I think 14% paid immediately on the increase on the pay, and then 24% overall the next 5 years. But it's just interesting to think that if they would have shut down, they estimated to be $2 billion a day. So we talked about that ship. Remember the ship that messed up the canal or whatever?
Yep.
That was
Suez
costing
Canal, or Panama
costing the world. Excuse me. I think it was about that $2 million mark.
Huge, yeah.
$2 billion with a B, as my buddy Joe would tell you. B. It was about that same amount a day. And if the railroad would go on strike, if these 12 unions, it's not all the railroads and all this, the Amtraks of the world, they started cutting things because if the union owns that section of the rail, so they cut some lanes out, like the Chicago to California. Amtrak said we're
That's
done.
huge lane, man.
So
It's massive.
if they would have shut down, it would have been $2 billion on America. On the United States of America, $2 billion is what they projected
Before
cost.
Christmas.
Right. So it just it's huge news. I'm so glad it got done. I'm glad they figured it out. But it's amazing that we can have. I don't know. I get the union. I understand it. I've worked in union for a long time. And I get why we had it, right? Or why we have it, the negotiations and this or that to pull your weight at the end of the day, to hold them accountable. At the end of the day, you think about the political system, that's why you go and vote, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, every American is part of a union. We're a union, and that we go out and vote, we show that this is what we want.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. They flexed their muscles, man. And, Biden administration did their best, but at the end of the day, it's up to those union heads to say, we're going to go strike. And they got so much money. There's so much money in the union.
Yeah, you could be mad at them wanting to strike and stuff, but when you look at the details and they had to, these people were working 50, 60 hours with no days off.
Yep.
That's a bit with no overtime, right? That's, man, that's, and in the conditions they're busy 24/7 right now, right?
Oh, yeah. We just talked about it, I think 2 or 3 episodes ago, about they just announced for the next month this lane is done.
Yeah.
We're not accepting anything new.
That's crazy.
But these railroads were built back in the 1800s and early
JP Morgan.
1900s, right?
Yep.
That they still control this set of iron that's laying on the ground.
It's 28%. 28% of the goods.
It's
It's over a quarter. Yeah, through the rail.
That's right. And it's just nuts to think about that if they would have shut down. That no one understands the owner operator like Tourette's trucker Tony on the hook here. You know, I had customers calling me asking me what is your guys' plan? Like, what's your fallback?
Yeah,
because we move everything by rail, and it's like we're standing by just like you. We have no clue.
Get our fingers crossed.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can do.
Do you use rail, David? Did you have any contingency plans?
Yeah, no, I didn't know because I didn't think it was going to happen.
Oh yeah, you thought it would just settle
because
it.
the last time this happened was 1991, and it was resolved within a day. And so my assumption was, I mean, everybody around the office was like, "Oh my gosh, it's bad on." I'm like, I don't think we really have anything to worry about.
Dave's looking around,
and I'm like, nah, we'll be fine. So
that's funny.
You didn't panic on Friday?
No,
you did not.
Dave was like, knew it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had done my history. By the way, outstanding story by Tim.
It is great story.
I did when I was doing research. I saw that the last time that this happened was 1991, and it only lasted a day.
So here's the thing, though. Here's what you guys have to remember: if they do choose to do the strike, if they would have chose that option,
right
at that point, typically it's too late.
Exactly.
It's too late for the company because if you said, all right, everyone, you're on strike, we're done. I'm going to pay you so the union pays them. They don't make full wage what they would do if they were at the job, but the union actually gives them a check every week, just like they would normally get. When they make that decision at that point, when you move to do that, there's no turning back.
Right.
And that's the scariest part about it is that if they would have chose that route, it wouldn't have been one day this time. It probably would have been 60 days, in my opinion.
And it's an astronomical amount each day, right?
Like $2 billion.
$2 billion a day.
God, crazy.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not Elon Musk. I don't just have $2 billion a drop every day in the bucket. I just don't.
Tony, were you worried about that? Well, you tanker, right? So I guess you get chemicals probably.
Yeah. Luckily with us doing chemicals, we haul a lot of the raw product used in the manufacturing and the making of all the products. Because like a lot of places we go, they ship out a lot of stuff on containers. And if you look at the rails, there's a lot of containers and a lot of trucks like JB Hunt with their containers that are listed and actually parked on the rails.
That's right.
Now, one thing that a lot of people don't think about, they okay, well, they just stopped transporting. But okay, if they were to actually stop and strike, what's already loaded on the rails, it's not like they're going to unload it. So now you got all that product throughout the country that is actually on a rail right now, sitting stationary.
I didn't think
so. Now you've got the companies who've already paid for this product, and it's just sitting on a rail somewhere in a yard. Think of how that's going to impact. A lot of people don't think of that part of the impact.
Yeah.
Frozen. It just sit there frozen. Nothing you can do. It's stranded.
Yep.
Because you're not allowed to go get it. Like, well, I'll come get it myself. No, it don't work that way.
Right.
You're just not allowed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I don't know. Maybe I should have done more homework, but I would imagine there's probably a minimum of $100 million worth of goods sitting inside of a container right now.
Oh yeah.
$100 million liquid gold sitting inside of a container that you would not be able to touch.
Right.
Good point.
You know?
I mean, that's a huge impact.
I mean, when you start back up, you got to get that off first, right? So you can't even ship anything out for days because they're still on the trains. They've not been emptied. That's a good point there, trucker Tony.
I took there was a reporter that was talking about it. I think it was Wednesday night. I brought the wrong phone apparently. I took a picture of it. It was on TV, and he was reporting about the difference cost in the goods and everything that would impact this. You know, and it's, man, I tell you, I don't know. It just, no one realizes. I almost secretly want to say I wish they would have gone on strike.
Just
because I want every American to understand what impact when you get slowed down by this damn train that comes by every day at 4:30 at the stop sign. And if you're not before it, you got to wait 15 minutes.
Right.
That little bit of an inconvenience
for you
would be a whole lot better than not having Charmin to buy out the stores. The avocado shortage, all these shortages you think is relatively on us right now would have been tenfolds.
Yeah, right.
If this would have shut down.
No
Brutal.
avocados and no Charmin.
That man, Tim's not a happy guy.
And that
when-
$3,600 fuel bill that Tony pays would have probably been $8,500, and he probably would have been making tenfolds for every run he would have done.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
the over the road truckers, that capacity, we talk
Very.
about the truckload capacity out there or the LTL capacity
Yep.
now becomes almost double, if not triple the amount. And then that good for that Charmin pack of 6 Dagon rolls
Mhm.
that would cost you $8 now becomes $28 real quick.
Yeah, people don't get it, man.
Real quick. So I secretly, I'm glad it didn't because I don't make enough money to afford anything that's going on. However, I secretly was like, just do it for a week. Just like, I hate to say it, it's like just pull your pants down and whip it out and just hammer it on the desk. You know,
Yeah.
just like, hey,
Yeah.
look, here's
Let it
my
happen.
here's my hammer.
It would be COVID all over again.
It
is
would
what
be, yeah.
and,
no doubt.
and it would be 10
Yeah.
10 times what
Mhm.
COVID was.
Yeah,
Right.
And I
exactly.
wish Americans would now start respecting some of that. But because it didn't happen,
Boom. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm glad it didn't, but on the same token, I'm like, just do it. Just
Mhm.
because I want everyone to respect the truckers, kind of to your topic number 2, which we'll get in here right after this, but it's kind of respect the daggone truckers.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
don't
sir.
understand. They move America.
Yep.
That's what you have got to
Mhm.
understand.
Mhm.
So we can get into topic 2, the driver appreciation on David
Yeah, it's a great
B's.
topic, too.
We
Uh,
could talk on Tim's topic all
All
day.
day, man.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just-
great topic.
It's yeah. There's all kinds of different, and I can't imagine. Could you imagine being either the person for the company or B, the person on the union side that's sitting down, looking face to face to each other, like, no, we're really doing this. You ain't gonna do this. No, you really doing it. No, it's like back and forth. The negotiations.
Right.
You're not negotiating a LeBron James contract.
Right.
You're negotiating $2 billion a day that's going
Right,
to shut
right.
down.
Well, we talked.
You know what? I tell you, all I want is can you guys clip our toenails too? Like, I mean,
right.
you could have thrown that stupid crap in there.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, we talked about
it's
this.
amazing.
Dave talked about the potential thing a while back, and then early on, we talked about, like, in that industry, like you had said, they're not, like, if they were a football team, they can't fully. There's not enough quarterbacks, is what they were saying. An analogy to the
Yep.
rail system. There's not enough quarterbacks in the industry, and I find that hard to believe because I mean, when I was a kid, there were people that retired off the railroad, and they looked like they did pretty good for themselves.
Railroad
right?
makes money, dude.
Yeah.
My
So,
grandpa was.
you know, I always go back. Go ahead, Grandpa.
My
He was part of it?
grandpa was a railroad dude.
Was he?
Yep.
So what did you say it went from 10 to how many people did they originally have? To what
It's 12 unions.
Mhm.
no, but how many people you said they went down to like 1,000?
Oh yeah, it was 1.5 million people like 20 years ago. Now it's down to like 150,000.
What,
That's
dude?
a lot of automation.
And
like
you're-
Tim said.
When's your grandfather retire?
Oh, it was probably in the early 20s, like 100 years ago.
Oh my gosh! So
yeah,
he
yeah.
was like on the when they were
Yeah.
still probably
In
building
the
them.
40s, probably in the 40s. He passed away young, so
Wow,
anyway.
man. Tony, anything to add?
That's a huge drop when you look at
It is
with the
That's-
automation. I mean, I know everybody's wanting to automate, but also the more you automate, the more room for error.
Yes,
But
mhm.
they always want to talk about, well, humans err too. But then again, automation has its good points. But then again, you also want someone behind to be there, someone to physically be looking at. Computers don't make decisions the way humans do.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I'm of the old school train of thought. You get what you pay for. Now, granted, some things should be automated, especially when people, they perceive their value is more valuable than what they are.
Boom.
Like, I'm going to throw them out. I'm sorry, you don't need $15, $22 an hour to say, would you like fries with that? I mean,
As long as they got salt, I'm in.
You have people, because I actually started, my first job was actually at McDonald's when I was a teenager. I started McDonald's at 15, and as a senior, I bought a brand new car in 1987, working at McDonald's for $3.35 an hour. A brand new 1987 Buick Skyhawk. by working.
Scott.
I chose to, instead of going to football games, the school softball games and homecomings and proms, I worked while everybody else took off. But I was able to buy a brand new vehicle. No mother, no father bought a vehicle. I bought it through hard work.
Yes, sir.
Now, and then I ended up as the youngest general manager out of the franchise that I worked for. I had 5 stores. In my 20s, I was a general manager.
Wow.
Because value, I put value to myself. Now, some people in unions, they perceive their value as more, but you could price yourself out of a job. And I think that's the way a lot of the markets are doing. People are perceiving their value. But I think we still need humans. Automation is good for the people that want to overvalue themselves when they're not worth it. I mean, you want to be paid $20 for a $10 an hour job. But I don't think you could ever take the human factor out of railroads or trucking, like driverless trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we talk about that.
I don't think you can do it.
Yep.
So I want to correct some of my stats. So railroad moves close to 40%. So this is off theguardian.com is where this came. So let's make sure we disclose that. But railroad moves close to 40% of the U.S. long distance trade, and the strike could cost $2 billion a day estimated.
Yeah.
And then it says between November of 2018 and December 2020, the railroad lost 40,000 jobs. And then it says more than 1 million workers were in the 1950s. In 2022, fewer than 150,000.
That's nuts, man.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So 90% gone.
Yep.
90% of workers gone.
Yep.
Now you see why they're bitching.
I mean,
I understand their complaint. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And I'm
so
glad they
think about
worked
that.
it
So
out.
you talk about the 50 and 60-hour work weeks, right? So they're cutting labor force by forcing people to work these long 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts, whatever it may be.
Yep.
So that's A. And then B, what you've done is done automation, or now this machine now can do all this and hook this up, and I don't need so many people.
Well, of course, the railroad doesn't want them to take any time off because they don't have any extra bodies.
That's right.
Right?
I
It's
know.
like, hey, you can't take off. We got nobody else. Well, shoot, you had 1,900,000. That is staggering.
mean,
Here,
that's
you
our
ready for this?
workforce.
So U.S. railroads have paid out
It's true.
$196 billion
What's up,
in stock buybacks and dividends to shareholders since 2010. So 12 years they paid almost
Yeah.
$200 billion if you invest in the railroads.
You know who's big into the railroad? Warren Buffett.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
railroads are never going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's genius. There was a stat I gave. I can't remember.
It's almost like an automatic
You
car
could move
wash.
100,000 pounds 1 mile for like 12 cents or something stupid on the railroad.
Right.
When you go to LTL, it costs you like $1.20.
Yeah.
So they're never going anywhere. If anything, they're going to build more railroads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do, because it takes.
Definitely.
That's the other thing about the contract was it. They were trying to get one driver of the locomotive type deal. It's 2 drivers in the contract, like it has been conductors, and so 2 people are pulling
quarterbacks.
a quarter mile long double stack containers.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what's that train got to weigh? I don't know. If I had to venture to guess, I'm going to say probably 5 million pounds. Right. 5 million pounds of goods moving at 12 cents a mile versus $1.20 a mile. It's going nowhere, folks. If you don't like railroads, you might as well just get you a nice piece of acre that goes by a railroad that they may branch off and sell it some good to it. Actually, don't sell it, just lease it to
Put
them.
in a little
Just
stop.
lease it to them. You know?
We've talked about this. They sustain themselves. I mean, they take care of their own maintenance stuff. They don't ask for help from the government.
Never have.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yep. They sustain themselves.
It's amazing.
And the conductors everyone thinks about a railroad or they think about the 2 conductors driving that ship, right? That's all they think about.
Yeah.
They don't realize the ports and everything goes down in a rail yard and how nasty and disgusting it is.
Sure.
So let's get into truck. Let's get into topic 2. We're probably pretty hard up on time.
All right, David B. Hit us with trucker appreciation. Like trucker Tony here. We're appreciating him getting him on the show. Yeah.
So this week we were off last Saturday because producer Tony was on vacation. We hope he had a great trip.
I did.
So this week, September the 11th through the 17th, is National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. And Tony, thank you for all of your years, and much appreciation to you for everything that you've done in the industry. This article is from trucker.org. Nearly every aspect of daily life is made possible because of a truck driver delivering the goods and resources that people need. The economy and it's a demanding, important job of 3.6 million professional men and women who move our goods on a daily basis to make sure that they get there securely and on time. And the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast wants to thank all of you men and women.
Thank you
for moving the product and getting things to and from where they need to go. So happy National Truck Driver Appreciation Week to all of you drivers out there.
Shout out.
They had their truck driving competition here in Indy not too long ago, right? So
and it's in Columbus next year and back in Indianapolis the year after.
We had the company I work for, we had Truck Driver Appreciation Week. I had
this week.
Yeah, went there Friday morning and spent a lot of time with the drivers.
Did you buy donuts or?
The terminal takes care of that themselves, and they do a really good job of it. And it was a good time.
I went in and grilled I think I did about 80 steaks.
Did you?
Oh, nice.
For our drivers for when they got back. But they, I shout out to that terminal manager. And again, we don't drop company names and all that, but they made a deal with a local butcher down in Mooresville, Indiana, and had beautiful steaks. I should have ate. I didn't, but
you did.
I tell you what, the most requested, which it hurt me to do, was well done.
No,
I'm telling you right now, well done.
Eats a well done steak,
and I'm like, I'm a rare guy. Like it's literally 2 minutes one side, 2 minutes the other side. It's off the grill. It's cold in the middle.
I gotta have it medium.
And so I'm like, all right, so I'll do this batch at medium. I figure medium rare by the time it sits there and they get it. It's probably gonna turn out about the medium or whatever. And all I heard is, "Do you got anything well done? Do you got anything well done?" I'm like, gosh dang. So we went in for a few hours, and I was about 80 steaks, I bet. Maybe a little bit, maybe a hand more than that.
Did you charcoal them?
And so gas grill, and it was one of those, I don't know what you call it, banquet style.
Yep.
It probably had, I think it was 8 burners or whatever. And I filled that grill up 3 times.
Holy cow.
Plus the other one, I ended up pulling those off as well. But it was nice to say thank you. I mean, it was steak, baked potato we gave them. And I don't know, I think they had a salad as well. Like it was legit, like sit down and really say thank you. And I always joke about, as a former city manager, driver superintendent, whatever you want to call it, that it's truck driver appreciation, yet we do it for the whole terminal. So the shop gets involved.
Yeah.
The dock workers get involved, which they should be, don't overlook them. But on the same token, like, let's take care of the drivers that have the CDLs that go out and see the customer and face the damages and the headaches and the painful waiting and in and out and unload and break your back doing this.
Yeah.
Not knocking anyone that works a dock anywhere, not knocking anyone that's in the shop that fixes the truck to make sure the drivers, at the end of the day, the drivers are the suit and ties, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Makes
Backbone.
And they think, and that's probably the easiest cakeist job there is inside of an LTL environment, but it's all about those guys because of what they do. So
absolutely.
And the gals. Let me and the gals. But we did about 80 steaks of beautiful steaks. I mean, they were every bit of an inch and a half thick. Like, they were legit, man. It was nice to do.
Trucker Tony, if you're eating a steak, how do you want your steak done?
You're not going to like it.
Uh-oh.
I prefer well done.
Oh, hang up on this.
See, that's what I'm telling you.
Hang up on this guy.
I'm telling you.
Oh, man.
Tourette's Trucker Tony on the Ship's Gonna Happen just verified what I just said, which is
done.
And I'm like, I can't. I literally told some guys, I was like, I can't do this. This thing is like. And so I pick it up with the tongs, but yep, it ain't moving at all. Like, it's hard as a rock. Here you go.
Yeah.
Dang.
I
Yeah.
had one guy come back and say, "This is." He goes, "This isn't well done." And I'm like, I can't make any. I mean, outside of you want it burnt. I mean, come on.
Man, oh man.
My wife gets on to me all this. She's like, I'm sorry. I don't cook steaks that way because we actually grill some steaks here and there when I go home. And she wants hers bleed, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's like
I got you.
I don't want to have it accidentally walk off my plate
Right.
when I'm trying to cut
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I will tell you that I love cooking steaks, and Gordon Ramsay. You guys know who Gordon Ramsay is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, love his show.
So and I have a thermometer that I use. So I get it to the medium temperature of 160, and then Gordon Ramsay says, take it off. So what you do is you take it off and you let it sit for about however long you cooked it, and it turns out perfect, man.
Mm.
You cover it, let it, because it still cooks after you get it off the grill, right?
Yes.
So I thought, man, because Tim likes it raw. I don't like it raw. So, but literally, I'm putting it on and cooking it like it's raw,
Yeah.
and then taking it off and letting it sit, and it's perfection.
You're
man.
listening to the Cooking with Producer Tony segment. of the
Yeah.
show.
On the Ship's Gonna Happen with Tourette's Trucker Tony as well.
Blackstone Grill.
That's right.
But
Love the Blackstone.
you want to
Oh,
get
yeah.
on to number 3?
Sure.
Is there? Oh yeah, we got the
This is
FedEx.
Quick one.
Yeah.
This will be a quick one. Hey, Tony B here. And then we'll, let's see here. So some big news came out on the media last week. Timmy D and David B hitting that stuff. So hit it earlier with their topics. All right. So FedEx was on CNBC this week. I'm pulling this off of Crystal Herr from CNBC, sorry. So essentially, CEO Raj Subramaniam
Well done.
told CNBC's Jim Cramer on Thursday that he believes a recession is impending for the global economy. I think so, but these numbers, they don't portend very well, Subram said in a response to Cramer's questions of whether the economy is going into a worldwide recession. So as a result of this, FedEx's shares fell 15%.
Nice job.
Yeah. So they didn't hit their earnings for the third quarter, I believe, is what kind of got them to thinking about the. So anyways, here's what he said. He says that the COVID thing is still affecting things. They're seeing a decline in volume around the world, which FedEx would be a player around the world. What would they be? The fourth, fifth largest, something like that.
Right.
So he's seen his statement was, quote, "We are seeing volume decline in every segment around the world. And we just started, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Second quarter, not the third quarter," he said. They measure their quarters differently. We are a reflection of everybody's business, especially high value economy in the world.
Is it declining or is it getting back to normal or quote unquote normal?
Great point.
Whatever normal.
I think that's
is.
what it is. We're just getting
kind
back
of
to-
leveling
yeah,
down to
That's what I
But I mean, what was this gentleman's position? with FedEx?
good question. He's the CEO. So
Okay.
when he says something, it's obviously means something.
Sure.
But then again, like to you, because I thought about that, David. I don't, we were incredibly busy for a
And
couple years there.
We still are.
Yeah.
Or always
And-
have been.
Well, we talk about that. It's slowing down. You can see
Yeah.
people sitting on a lot of goods right now, in my opinion, because of the purchasing habits in 2020 and early 2021.
Sure.
Call it late 2021. They're purchasing that. Well, let's go back to Charmin. I want one roll of Charmin. Now they're purchasing 6 rolls of Charmin because by the time they get it, their forecast is they're going to sell 5 of the 6, and that gives them their one that they want.
Right.
Mhm.
We talk about how hard it is on the purchasing manager. So that's their prediction or their results or whatever you want to call it is about spot on, 15% from what they thought they were going to do, probably because everyone's sitting on things and there's nowhere to go and no one's purchasing anymore.
Right.
People are back to work too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right. So people are back and they're not consuming as much as they were, or they're not sitting around the same house saying, I need to remodel this and do this. And I mean, life is getting back to
normal.
normalcy.
Yeah.
And that's going to drop a lot of things and a lot of inventory people are going to try
Right.
to offload.
Tony, you see what are you feeling out there as a driver?
I believe it is slowing down.
Okay.
Now with me, with my second truck I bought, try to put a driver in. Since we do tankers, one of the ways you unload tankers or by pressurizing the trailer. So the air system the trucks use to actually control the brakes and all that on it, well, we use the same air to pressurize the trailer. Well, most of us, unless you have a separate air compressor off to the side driven by PTO off the transmission, they actually have two-stage air compressors that go on the motor of the truck. So instead of just one piston, it's a double piston, which creates more air. And you just tap into your air supply on your air tanks, and then run an air line, and then hook it into the trailer and the pressurized trailer there. Well, you used to be able to find an air compressor. You just call, bam, you get one. We've been waiting for months for one, and we just tracked one down in Seattle. Wow. But when everybody says it's a parts issue, it's a parts issue. Everything is slowing down between COVID and people not going back to work. So you can't get things. I've heard of the Peterbilt dealer. They said they'll get a pallet of brakes in and they're gone because so many people are waiting even for like brakes and simple parts of trucks. So because of the market with everything and people being out of work, not going back to work, they're not producing the stuff people need. So then there's not that much to ship. And then also we hear, even on the tanking side, a lot of chemical plants are holding on to their inventory. So even on that side, some of the shipping is down. So there's a lot of things where, because of people not going back to work, people holding on to inventory because they're not certain. With the recession, people's aren't buying things, so they're having to try to clearance out stuff to even try to begin to even bring new stuff in. The shipping is just down.
That's first-hand knowledge right there.
Yep.
I mean, realistic, to your topic of the FedEx, and you're hearing it right there. Tourette's trucker Tony is telling you that he's seen it right there.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Tony, you're on dedicated runs, it sounds like. Does that sound accurate?
With some of the companies we do, there's our certain places that we run it to. That's kind of what we do. Run out of several different chemical plants, and we take to basically dedicated customers. And we're hearing from them, and we're hearing from. Then I hear from other truck drivers that can't get parts. I mean, parts are so much. Our shop is actually a Landstar authorized repair shop, but they've got trucks waiting to work on because they can't. Our shop can't even get the parts to repair trucks.
Yeah, we ran it. I just ran into a guy saying, I was like, well, is there any? We were looking for 40-foot chassis. There's zero in Indianapolis available. Zero.
Because the chassis are
like go and order. So there's a guy, a buddy of mine, actually lives in this neighborhood that his buddy just bought 5 chassis. Took him about 3 months to get, but they're only 20-foot chassis.
Yeah, you know what's crazy?
You can't order them. Well, you can't get them built.
Well, what's crazy, when we were doing the supply chain, looking at the containers coming overseas, there was actually a prediction that would be a big issue down the road, and it looks like it's hit. Like the chassis thing, I remember that. They were saying, just wait, you're going to see this. But anyways.
It's incredible. So, hey, thanks to Tourette's trucker Tony on the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Yep. We appreciate you. You're part of the Hall of Fame. HAUL, as David B would tell me.
Can we get, before we cut you loose, Tony, can you give us you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast? Can you say like this? Trucker. Yeah, this is the Tourette's trucker, and you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.
Absolutely. This is the Tourette's trucker, and you are listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast today.
Nice. Boy, did miss a beat. That's a professional. Hey, and thank you, driver appreciation. We would go. We would not live with ourselves. We didn't tell you thank you very much for everything you do and for the industry and educating. Even check him out on his YouTube channel. Really appreciate you, Tony. It's been fantastic to spend a few minutes with you today. Good luck on the wedding.
Great having you on.
Yep. Can we get you back?
I definitely appreciate that.
Can we get you back on the show sometime, Tony?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you.
Congrats to your family, man. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Y'all take care.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
So with him being in Tiffany, Ohio, do you think she has a Tiffany ring?
Tiffany.
that costs $1.2 billion?
Right? Yes. They're probably out of stock.
Yeah.
Wow. But David B, man, Hey.
Do you have any random thoughts?
I
Bill?
do.
We're really long-winded.
Yeah,
so
Yeah. So just college football today, or football in general. I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be football in college. Let's start with
Notre Dame 0-2.
Didn't want to rub that in.
I didn't want to
just
throw you
yet.
out your own window, but I'm getting ready to.
Poor Marcus Freeman starting
Oh,
off.
my
Essentially,
God.
he started off 0-3 because he lost his bowl game.
That's
too,
true.
so-
Wow.
So
David
Ooh.
B. rubbing it in.
I'm hearing a rumor, and I'm going to switch gears real quick. I'm hearing a rumor that if the Colts lose Sunday, somebody else might not have a job.
Well, then I want them to lose if it's the person I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it's Frank Reich.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. Yep.
Frank,
If
we
they
call
lose
him
to
Force and
Jacksonville.
Frank, or Frank and Force is what I call him.
Yeah.
This son gun, he don't even look at the play call. He's just waiting on that sheet to go for it on 4th down. But
That's funny.
hey,
They should have won.
Jim
that damn
Irsay
game.
will not. I don't want to say he won't, but Jim Irsay will never fire someone in the middle of the season. He
Yeah,
won't do
well,
it.
That'd be-
Rumor
maybe-
yesterday was if they lose to Jacksonville to Sunday, then there might be a
Well,
coaching change
Jacksonville's a
come Monday
decent
morning.
team. You know who's down there,
I
right?
know. Yeah, they
Yes.
got a great quarterback.
It's his.
man.
It's Frank's former boss.
Yeah.
That's the coach.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if they're even, if it's 5-5, he's gone probably. Yeah, I would say.
They're not firing him in the middle of the season. It's not happening.
I don't know.
I ain't mad at your train of thought, but
I don't.
silent moment on the ship's going to happen. Doesn't happen very often. But when you talk about my beloved Colts, man,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
man. What I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I
I
think
was
that
surprised when I heard it.
maybe that's why he fired Goggles, because he's like, oh, all right, I'm going to make this team right. Like
but
maybe
they-
it was
good
to save
point.
his job.
But Irsay wasn't happy with that. I've heard that Irsay was pissed that they got rid of him.
Really?
Yeah. That they
I
got
was
rid
kind of surprised too because the
Blankenship.
guy had done good for him in the
Mhm.
past. So
He
So-
can never really make anything over 45
he's not a
yards.
Vanderjack. I mean,
He just doesn't have a leg. McLaughlin's the same way. They brought in this rookie
bring
as
back
well.
McAfee. What's his name?
McLaughlin.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
Pat
Jesus.
McAfee, he was a punter, not a place kicker. Big difference.
He can
Doesn't
do it,
matter.
though.
The Colts should have never been in the
He's
scenario
got a
against
great
the
show.
Houston Texans to kick that to win the
There it is.
flipping
Yeah,
game.
right.
Yeah,
It's
you're
piss
exactly
poor
right.
play
Yeah.
calling and undisciplined ball is the issue.
Matt
You're
Ryan
getting
was
ready to get me
pissed.
fired up on a Saturday morning. I'm
Yeah,
going home and drinking.
I got both of you fired
So,
up this morning.
I'm going home and I'll be at the tailgate. I'm drinking. I'm going to start now. I'm going to drink all the way there and all the way home. I'm done.
So what
Oh.
else, David?
So we already discussed the 0-2 start of the
0-3.
Irish. Can they be
Notre
a
Dame.
fighting? Can they be are they the Fighting Irish still, or is
Yeah.
it just the Irish?
No fighting.
The
Irish.
Fighting
Okay,
Irish.
well, there was
NBC
people
won't
like,
say Fighting Irish.
Oh, okay.
NBC says the Irish.
All right. So Purdue plays.
And the Fighting Irish fought against racism, by the way.
Purdue plays like Penn State or something. They play someone
No,
decent, don't
you
they?
don't-
That's
Who?
your team, that
Right.
Purdue.
Purdue?
They're 2-0, right?
No.
No, they got beat by
No,
Penn
1-1.
State opening game. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So Purdue plays Syracuse at Syracuse.
Yeah,
today.
Syracuse is a
2-0.
favorite. No, they're a dog by 5 points. They're saying take Syracuse.
Okay. All
That's what
right.
it was.
And so
Florida State won last night. The Louisville versus Florida State was a phenomenal game. This dude, Florida State dude, this is unlucky, but quarterback throws basically a down and in about 15 yards to what basically the slot receiver. Hits the dude in the helmet before he even turned on his route. Hits him in the helmet. It bounces up and it gets a pick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, literally smoked the dude in the head.
Tiny.
And like guy went like boom, like knocked him over, and then the dude, another guy, the safety comes
Got
in
it.
and catches it.
So your Southern Illinois Salukis play the Northwestern Wildcats today.
Oh, they do
So-
play Northwestern
Mhm.
today?
Yeah,
Northwestern
yeah.
should cream them.
Well, they should.
Yeah.
I can't. Northwestern can never beat Duke in football. That makes
No.
me so mad. How are you not? Can't you beat
Man,
Duke
Duke's
in
horrible.
football?
Oklahoma's coach got fired too last
yeah.
week.
What?
Not Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Scott Frost.
Yeah,
he was a
he
hell of
got-
a player in a day.
Gone.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
should
tell
have
you
been.
what, if West Virginia loses again, somebody there's going to lose their job too.
Yeah, the top 5 is Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson. Got 2 Big Ten teams in the top 5. That's pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Although
definitely.
that Ohio State win over Notre Dame no longer looks really good on the resume.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're exactly
Well,
right.
I mean,
well,
it doesn't.
seriously.
well said.
It doesn't.
Notre Dame got beat at home by
That's
nobody.
why they didn't move up.
Mhm.
Who it wasn't UConn? Who was it? It was an East Coast school. It wasn't UConn.
Who?
Notre Dame got beat by
Marshall.
Yeah.
Marshall. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Randy Moss.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Huntington, West Virginia.
yeah,
So yeah.
man.
Marshall. Come on, man.
Every time, sometimes I
Man.
look at that coach on the sidelines and he looks a little lost.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Marcus
He,
Freeman.
Yeah.
he looked the same way in the bowl game. There was a few. He should have taken a couple timeouts. There were some challenges. The game management is a lot when you're a coach.
I know.
There's a lot more than you think.
I think he's a
on.
good dude and he's a good coach, and I wish him well. I just think it might be over his head right now.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't disagree with that. By the way, Manti Te'o, the whatever's September
Catfish.
25th.
They got catfish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's like coming back to give a speech to whatever, like September
What?
25th, and I'm thinking, is his girlfriend coming? Think about it. If you know the story, you know the
Check
story.
It out. Check it out.
I bet
man.
she won't be there.
I bet she won't be either.
Yes.
Can he?
Yes.
You think she'll FaceTime him?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Boom.
That's
she
hilarious.
doesn't exist.
Yeah. David B, anything else?
No, I'm looking over the Big Ten schedule. Nothing much. Nothing else really sticks out. So
Thank you for all the truck drivers out there from Ship's Gonna Happen. We appreciate you. This is not only just the week for you, but it is all year round for me.
Oh yeah, and we have a billboard. We haven't talked about our billboard.
Tell us about it, David.
Yeah. So on 65 South, about the 100-mile marker, just south of Indianapolis, is our Ship's Gonna Happen billboard. It's
You'll see us.
compliments of our sponsor, The Great Divide.
Great divide.
Thanks to them for getting that put up for us and
Mhm.
stuff. And it's it's a rotating electronic billboard, so it doesn't stay up permanently, but it's an awesome looking billboard. And at 4 a.m. when I drove down just to check to see if it was up, it definitely catches your eye. It's boom right there. So
And-
In the
thanks.
face.
And we've got a special guest from the Great Divide that we run into
Oh, yeah,
on every
next-
Thursday, sometimes when we're
Next
there.
Saturday show.
Next Saturday, his name is
Yes.
Francois,
Yeah,
He has a
is
book.
called Made in France.
made in France. Yeah.
And he will be here
Is it-
next Saturday as our guest.
He's an interesting guy. The book has been picked up for a movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's
Tell us
about
about it,
him
Dave.
coming from France. I think we'll let him just tell us next week.
Oh yeah, but Dave's got
Yeah.
a little snippet.
Francois Hugon is, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing his last name right, Hugon. We've never discussed his last name, but Francois is a very interesting gentleman. He sells wine for a living. He's a wine distributor, and he's an awesome guy, and he's got a great story. And he will be our guest next Saturday.
Nice.
in
Can't wait for that.
studio.
Yep.
And he's got a great story. He's a very nice gentleman. So,
All right, you guys.
We're good.
Ship's gonna happen. Out.
Transportainment.
boom.
Boom.